History is a lie. How was a son of the first Stewart King of Scotland described? From The Book of Arran by W.M. Mackenzie. For one, natural son of Robert II, found a place in the new hereditary sheriffdom of Bute and Arran, which was in existence at least by 1385, and among the perquisites of the office this John Stewart, the dark-complexioned or black, had corrigills in Arran. John Stewart, son of the first Stewart King of Scotland, is described as having a dark complexion. It must have been darker than usual because he was nicknamed the Black Stewart, similar to how King Charles II was nicknamed Black Boy. It was a nickname coined by his mother because of the darkness of his skin and eyes. He was described being of a sable hue. See our previous video for full context. For John Stewart to be at the later end of the complexion spectrum, at the very least one parent had to be melanated. But realistically, to be dark enough to be nicknamed the Black, both parents had to be melanated. Well, so what if the Stewarts were melanated? Why is the complexion of John Stewart important? Let's read how the inhabitants of the same island of Arran, under the sheriffdom of John Stewart, were described some 300 years later, during the first years of the 1700s. From A Description of the Western Islands of Scotland by Martin Martin, published in 1716. The Isle of Arran. The inhabitants of this isle are well-proportioned, generally brown, and some of a black complexion. They enjoy a good slate of health and have a genius for all callings or employ. So, some 330 years later, after John the Black Stewart received the sheriffdom of Bute and Arran, the descendants of those people are described as brown and some black of complexion. Surely the people of Arran must be the exception to the rule. Quote, Jura. The Isle of Jura is, by a narrow channel of about half a mile broad, separated from Ila. Let's jump a few pages where the author describes the physical characteristics and culture of the people of Jura. Quote, the natives here are very well proportioned, being generally black of complexion and free from bodily imperfections. They speak the Irish language and wear the plaid bonnet, like other islanders. Well, surely the people of Arran and Jura were the exception to the rule. The Isle of Carray. The inhabitants are all Protestants and speak the Irish language generally, there being but a few that speak English. They are grave and reserved in their conversation. They are accustomed not to bury on Friday. They are fair or brown in complexion. Right, you get the point. Highlanders in the Scottish mainland and Irish had similar complexions also. Brown, dark brown, pale and fair. The obvious question is, what happened to these people? Was it simply ruthless genocide like the indigenous Australians suffered? Or is it a more complex, multi-layered answer with great historical repercussions? After all we know, thanks to primary sources, religion and political alignment caused wars in Europe at this time, not mere skin color. And we know the English Civil War and the following Jacobite rebellions were fueled by religious hatred and political alignment. So what actually happened? That is exactly what we will cover next week. Like and share for more lost history. And that's why we say,